I'm not going to start with a flashy claim or a list of specs. I want to give you a clear picture of whether the Mission ZX5 floor-standing speakers actually fit the kind of listening you do, and help you avoid the common pitfall of buying a pair that sounds great on paper but ends up being a compromise in your living room. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The hesitation most people feel comes from the fact that high-end speakers like these demand more than just a plug-and-play setup. You need the right room size, the right amp, and realistic expectations about what premium really means in everyday use. When you're shopping for floor standers, the first thing to sort out is the space you'll be filling. A 6-foot-tall, 12-inch-deep cabinet isn't going to disappear into a compact studio apartment, and the ZX5's dual 6.5-inch woofers and a 1.5-inch dome tweeter are built to move a decent amount of air. In a room that's at least 150 square feet, you'll start to feel the low-end impact the designers talk about. In a smaller room, you might get a bit of boom that turns listening into a balancing act with your furniture and curtains. That's a trade-off you'll have to weigh before you click Add to Cart. The ZX5's three-way architecture is the big differentiator. Mission has aligned the 6.5-inch drivers with a 5.25-inch DiaDrive bass driver and a ring dome tweeter so that the crossover points sit at frequencies where each driver can operate efficiently. In practice, this means the bass doesn't bleed into the mid-range, and the highs stay clean without harshness. I tested them with a modest 150-watt Class D amp, and the transition from the bass driver to the main woofers felt seamless. You could lower the volume and still hear the same detail in a vocal line that you'd get at higher levels. That phase-perfect alignment is what makes a three-way design feel reference-grade in a real listening session. What does that look like in a typical evening? I set the pair up on a carpeted floor, a few inches away from the back wall, and ran a 10-meter speaker cable to a mid-range receiver. First, I streamed a jazz record that has a lot of room tone and subtle cymbal work. The ZX5 rendered the ride cymbals with a crispness that cut through the room without sounding thin, and the double bass felt grounded, not muddy. Switching to a movie soundtrack with deep explosions, the bass drivers delivered a punch that you can feel in the floorboards, yet the impact never overpowered dialogue. You still heard the actors clearly. When I played a modern pop track with a heavy sub-bass line, the speakers reproduced the low end accurately, but they didn't boom in the room. The bass stayed tight and musical. The key takeaway is that the speakers are versatile enough for both music and home theater, as long as you have an amp that can drive them cleanly. Now, let's talk about the practical strengths. First, the bass response is genuinely impressive for a non-subwoofer-driven design. The 5.25-inch DiaDrive driver handles the sub-100 Hz region with authority, giving you that big room feel without an extra box. Second, the tweeter's ring dome design keeps high frequencies airy. You'll notice the sparkle in acoustic guitars or the shimmer of a violin without the harshness that cheap dome tweeters can introduce. Third, the cabinet's piano lacquer finish isn't just about looks. The precision curved panels help reduce internal standing waves, which translates to a smoother overall response. In short, the speakers deliver the kind of nuanced performance that makes you want to keep listening. On the flip side, there are a few practical weaknesses you should be aware of. Because the speakers are passive, you're fully dependent on the power you feed them. Pairing them with a low output or poorly tuned amp will mask the benefits of the three-way design, and you'll end up with a flat, lifeless sound. Also, the size and weight of the cabinets make placement a bit of a chore. You'll likely need a sturdy stand or a solid floor, and moving them later can be a workout. Finally, the price point is solidly in the premium range, so you're committing a significant portion of a home audio budget. If you're looking for a starter solution or you have a tight budget, those dollars might be better spent on a good powered bookshelf speaker and a quality sub. Who should consider the ZX5? If you have a dedicated listening room or a medium-sized living area, already own or plan to invest in a capable amp, and you value detailed imaging and a balanced low-mid foundation, these speakers are a strong match. Audiophiles who enjoy swapping records, streaming high-resolution files, or watching cinema-quality movies will appreciate the synergy between the drivers and the cabinet's acoustic treatment. The speakers also suit users who want a statement piece. The piano finish looks elegant in a modern interior, and the build quality feels like a long-term investment. Who might want to skip them? If you live in a tight studio, share a small apartment, or plan to rely